The importance of asking yourself deep questions is something most people overlook. We spend so much of our lives answering the questions of others. What do you do? Where do you live? How much do you earn? That we forget the most powerful questions are the ones we ask ourselves. When you pause and ask, who am I? Why am I here? What do I truly want from this short life? You begin to look beyond surface labels. These questions are not meant to be answered in an instant. They are meant to unsettle you, to push you into reflection, to wake you from the routine of simply existing. Think of it this way. If you never ask yourself the hard questions, you drift. You go where the crowd goes, you follow the path already paved, and one day you look back and realize you never truly lived by your own design. But when you dare to ask deeper questions, you stop running on autopilot. You start noticing what excites you, what drains you, what matters, and what doesn't. Asking deep questions is like holding up a mirror, not to your face, but to your soul. At first, it's uncomfortable. You might not like what you see, and you might not have clear answers. But in that discomfort lies the beginning of self-discovery. The young man in the story began to change not because life gave him new opportunities, but because he finally turned inward and asked himself the question he had been avoiding. That simple act of asking, honestly, courageously, and consistently, became the spark that lit his path. Identity is shaped by choices, not just circumstances. Too often, people believe they are stuck with the life they were born into, the family they didn't choose, the environment that surrounded them, the struggles handed to them. But those are only the starting lines, not the entire story. What truly defines a person is not the hand they were dealt, but how they play it. Every choice, no matter how small, builds the bricks of your identity. Think of someone who grows up in difficulty, where nothing seems easy. Circumstances may whisper that they are limited, that their future is already written. But when they choose discipline over excuses, kindness over bitterness, persistence over surrender, they begin to craft a new version of themselves. The circumstances remain real, but they no longer hold all the power. The young man in the story could have let his uncertainty and fear define him. He could have accepted the label of ordinary and lived quietly in the shadow of others' expectations. But when he made the choice to stop comparing himself and start acting on his own values, his identity shifted. He wasn't waiting for life to change, he was changing who he was through action. Circumstances set the stage, but choices write the script. Every time you decide to rise, to try, to learn, you are shaping yourself into someone greater than your past. And that is where real identity is born. Struggles are opportunities to discover hidden strength. At first, they feel like heavy burdens, unfair weights pressing down, making every step forward exhausting. Most people see struggles only as obstacles, as something that stands in the way of their goals. But if you shift your perspective, you begin to see them differently, not as roadblocks, but as teachers. It is in the moments of difficulty that your real character is revealed. When life is comfortable, anyone can smile, anyone can appear strong. But when challenges come, failure, rejection, loss, that is when your inner strength is tested. And often, you discover you are capable of more than you imagined. The struggle becomes a mirror, reflecting the resilience, patience, and determination you didn't even know you had. The young man in the story felt lost, powerless, and invisible. Yet it was in that very struggle that he began asking the questions that changed his life. Without the discomfort, he might never have sought deeper meaning, never have picked up that book, never have awakened the desire to grow. His struggle was the doorway that led him to his true strength. The truth is, your strength does not show itself when everything is easy. It shows itself when nothing seems to go your way, and yet you choose to rise again. Struggles are not signs of weakness. They are invitations to discover the hidden power inside you. Comfort zones hide your real potential. They feel safe, familiar, and reassuring, like a warm blanket on a cold night. But comfort zones are also silent cages. They keep you where you are, not where you could be. Many people spend years in them, never realizing that while comfort protects you, it also limits you. Growth never happens where everything is easy. It happens at the edge, where fear and possibility meet. Think about it. The first time you try something new, it feels uncomfortable. Your heart races, your hands tremble, and your mind whispers, "What if I fail?" That moment is proof you've stepped outside the circle of comfort. And that is exactly where transformation begins. Every skill you admire in others, every act of courage, every success story you've heard, none of it was born in comfort. It was born in the unknown. The young man in the story could have remained quiet, safe in the background, living a life that asked little of him. But he chose to speak up, to take risks, to stretch himself beyond what felt natural. At first it was uncomfortable, even frightening. Yet, with each step beyond his comfort zone, he grew stronger, more confident, and more alive. The danger of the comfort zone is that it convinces you that safety is enough. But safety does not awaken greatness. The moment you step out, even trembling, you unlock parts of yourself you never knew existed. Your potential is not hiding in comfort. It's waiting just beyond it. Failure does not define who you are. Too many people see failure as a permanent label, a mark that says, "You are not good enough." But failure is not the end. It is only feedback. It is life's way of teaching you what doesn't work, pointing you toward what might. The truth is, the only people who never fail are those who never try, and in avoiding failure, they avoid growth. Every great figure you admire has walked through failure. Thomas Edison tried thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. J.K. Rowling was rejected by publishers before Harry Potter changed the world. Each failure could have been the final word, but they chose to treat it as a stepping stone instead of a gravestone. The young man in the story faced his own failures, moments where he stumbled, where his efforts didn't produce the results he hoped for. At first, he thought those failures defined him, that maybe he wasn't smart enough or strong enough. But with time, he realized they were shaping him. Every setback was sharpening his persistence, teaching him resilience, and building his courage. Failure isn't proof of weakness. It's proof that you dared to act, that you had the courage to step into the arena while others stayed on the sidelines. The only true failure is giving up entirely, surrendering to the fear of trying again. Your identity is not built on how many times you fall, but on how many times you rise after falling, and every rise makes you stronger than before. Comparison weakens identity. Focus strengthens it. The moment you start measuring your life against someone else's, you hand over your peace. You stop seeing your own path and begin chasing shadows, always feeling behind, always feeling less. Comparison makes you blind to your own progress because no matter what you achieve, someone will always seem further ahead. The truth is, identity cannot be borrowed from others. It is not built by mirroring what your friends are doing or by matching the success of strangers you scroll past online. Identity grows when you choose to focus, not on their journey, but on your own. Focus means asking, what matters to me? What step can I take today? How can I grow, even if no one is watching? The young man in the story was once trapped in comparison. Every achievement of a friend felt like proof that he was falling behind. But when he chose to stop looking outward and started looking inward, something changed. He began noticing his own strengths, his own values, his own unique pace. By shifting his energy from comparison to focus, he discovered clarity, and with clarity came confidence. Comparison drains you, but focus fuels you. One leads to envy, the other to growth. The moment you fix your eyes on your own path, you stop running in circles and start moving forward with purpose. And in that steady focus, your true identity begins to shine. Greatness comes from persistence, not perfection. Too many people hold back, waiting until everything feels flawless before they begin. They think they must have the perfect plan, the perfect skills, the perfect moment. But perfection is an illusion, something you chase but never catch. What truly changes lives is persistence, the willingness to keep going again and again, even when progress feels slow, even when mistakes pile up. Persistence is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. The mountain is not climbed in one giant leap. It is climbed step by step, sometimes slipping, sometimes stumbling, but always moving upward. Each small effort builds momentum. Each repeated attempt strengthens resolve. And over time, persistence achieves what perfection never could. The young man in the story began to see this truth. At first, he was paralyzed by the fear of doing things imperfectly. He hesitated, thinking others were better, smarter, more prepared. But when he chose persistence over perfection, everything shifted. He started speaking even when his words weren't polished. He kept trying even when results were uncertain. Slowly, his confidence grew, and with each attempt, his path became clearer. Greatness is not about never falling. It's about refusing to stay down. It's not about flawless beginnings. It's about relentless continuations. The world does not need perfect people. It needs persistent ones. And if you hold on long enough, through every setback, through every doubt, you will find that persistence builds the kind of greatness perfection never delivers. The power of self-awareness to transform your path is something many overlook. Most people rush through life reacting to situations, copying what others do, or following routines without asking why. But self-awareness changes everything. It is the ability to pause, to look within, and to understand your thoughts, emotions, and actions. It's like switching on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, you see not only where you are, but also where you could go. When you are self-aware, you begin to notice patterns, the habits that keep you small, the fears that hold you back, the strengths you haven't yet used. Instead of being controlled by circumstances, you take control of how you respond to them, and that response shapes your future. Self-awareness is not about judging yourself harshly. It is about understanding yourself honestly, and in that honesty lies the power to change. The young man in the story discovered this when he stopped hiding from his own reflection. He asked himself why he felt invisible, why he compared himself to others, why he was afraid of failure. These questions didn't make him weaker, they gave him clarity. And with clarity, he started making different choices. He wasn't just living by habit anymore, he was living with intention. Self-awareness is the foundation of growth. Without it, you repeat the same mistakes. With it, you break cycles, you sharpen your vision, and you align your life with your true values. The more you know yourself, the more power you have to shape who you become. Your true self is revealed when you decide to live with purpose. Too often, people drift through life without direction, carried by routines and expectations, living as if tomorrow is guaranteed. But purpose changes the way you move. It gives meaning to your struggles, energy to your actions, and fire to your spirit. Purpose turns ordinary days into steps towards something greater. Living with purpose doesn't mean you have to know your entire future. It means you choose to live intentionally today, guided by values that matter to you. It could be as simple as deciding to learn, to grow, to help others, or to refuse to quit when challenges rise. Each purposeful choice pulls you closer to the person you are meant to become. The young man in the story discovered this truth slowly. At first, he chased approval, living to satisfy the expectations of others. But the moment he asked himself what truly mattered to him, the fog began to lift. He realized his life wasn't about proving himself to the world. It was about becoming someone he himself could respect. That decision gave him a sense of freedom and strength he had never felt before. Purpose does not erase pain, but it makes pain meaningful. It does not guarantee easy success, but it gives you the courage to keep going when success feels far away. And most importantly, it reveals who you truly are, not the labels, not the comparisons, not the failures, but the inner fire that drives you forward. When you live with purpose, you no longer ask life to define you. You define yourself through the way you live, and that is where your true self begins to shine.